I had the pleasure of going on stage in an event called the Worldwide Hair Tour. It's an event that happens for WNS every 2 years, and I joined WNS, for anyone that doesn't know, just before the pandemic. I think like 2 months before the pandemic. Myself and Ashley, who's going to talk about some of the colours that you're going to see in a second. We joined November 2019, and then travel shut down, as we all know, very early in 2020. So our Worldwide Hair Tour experience was prolonged and changed in different locations around the world, and it was quite poetic that it came back to Palma in June 2022, and it gave me a little bit more time to understand WNS, to understand the community, and I set about 12 months ago building a show. The show went on to be called Digital Safari, and the reason I called it Digital Safari is because I wanted to use a lot of video content to take the audience on a journey. And the reason I do that is because when I'm going to do a show, I always think, okay, like, if I was going to give my time up, and in particular, if I was going to fly to the other side of the world in some cases, the people that came to Palma, like, I always try and put myself in the audience's position. And I always think, okay, when I've been to see something, when have I really liked it, and when have I really got something from it, and when have I not? And what I decided, and what I realised was, when I get something, the most out of a presentation, a demonstration, anything, it's when I understand the reason why. I don't just understand what they did. I'm interested in what they did, but I don't want to replicate what they did. But if I understand their process, and I understand the decisions and the kind of cultural touch points that have gone into making whatever it is, a piece of music, a movie, or in this case a hairstyle, then that's the bit that I can use. So I set about making a series of videos. I knew that I wanted to make a series of videos that were going to tell the inspiration to anyone. Videos that broke down any language barrier, because we had people from all over the different parts of the world. Videos that could break down any language barrier, that someone could watch the video, and then I could come on stage and I could present with very little talking, not that you would have guessed, I'm not talking now, and that video could tell the story of my inspiration. The idea for the overall concept of the show came from me visiting a gallery in London called the Serpentine Gallery, and it was by, the exhibition was by a clothes designer, Wales Bonner, and the exhibition, the clothes designer, she designs a lot for Adidas Consortium now, if anyone knows that. When you went to the exhibition, there was an item of clothing on the mannequin, and you looked at the item of clothing, and you kind of like, you liked it, you know, it was nice, but then there was a large-scale art installation next to that item of clothing, which when you walked through, when you listened to it, when you read it, when you experienced that installation, and you looked back at that piece of work on the mannequin, you had another level of appreciation for it, you had another level of understanding of it, and you took another level of inspiration, more importantly, from that piece of work. So Wales Bonham and her approach to that, when I thought, okay, I want to tell the story of my inspirations, I want to do it through video, so I'm going to make these large-scale art installations. So we hired a huge gallery here in Palma, and we built large-scale art installations, from filling a room full of sand with bonsai trees and creating our own Japanese garden for one look, to the video I'm about to share with you now, which was, when you see everything come together, you'll understand. But the initial inspiration for this came from this one dress. And then it led me to start to study headbands, from a beautiful shot I saw of Linda Evangelista in the 90s of this very, very wide headband separating her hair, to that iconic Wimbledon 1984 final, I think, with McEnroe and Bjork, where they had the beautiful headbands and the Sergio Tacchini tracksuits on. These kind of iconic things, I started to look at all these and put them together in this little kind of collage of ideas. So I'm going to play with you the video that I played on stage back in June, and then I'm going to recreate the look that I have for you. so you probably guessed, as I said, that the initial inspiration was that dress. Now, I knew I wanted to do something with the dress. I didn't know what, but I loved the Mondrian themed colour pattern. I loved that it kind of just, I loved that it was very extravagant in some aspects, but then very reserved with the shape, almost like this high tracksuit top type collar, but these really beautiful intricate patterns. So I thought, maybe I can put this thing together, because that's what I like to do. I like to pick from different areas the Bjorn Borg headbands, the Linda Evangelista headbands, this dress, and try and reframe all these things into a new conversation in the hope that it feels like a new idea. So, I'm going to take the Davines extra strong hairspray, checking it was extra strong on them, and I'm going to spray my wig wrap. And what I've done here, you can see through here, I've wig wrapped a percentage of the head. And I've put almost like a black headband all the way through the head, if you can see. And I'm going to spray with extra strong hairspray. And then Ashley Hodges, who created this colour based on the dress inspiration, is going to come here in and help me wrap this headband. Now, this works 7 out of 10 times. So let's see if this is one of the lucky 7. Okay, thank you, Ashton. So what we do is we take the weft that we've colour matched to the amazing dress. We put the comb in. On an angle, make sure everything is combed smooth and neat. And then we come in and we go low. And then we come up high. So we spread the headband across the top of the head. And then we start to drop low again to bring everything to a conclusion on this left hand side.
So again, Tom, ultimately you've done what we call a wig wrap, where you've sectioned out the crown, you've taken your beautiful model song's natural hair, you've wrapped it around using product close to the head, and then you've taken some extension glue and then this beautifully colored extension or weft,
yes.
And dressed that around to become the headband.
Yes.
Okay. Actually, can you tell us a little bit about the colors as well? Because they're so vibrant and beautiful, and they relate so much to what I saw in the video.
Yeah, thank you. So with the hair colours, really it's about kind of having a look at the dress, and to start with, the key thing is getting the right tones correct. So getting the blue the same blue as the dress, getting the yellow the same yellow as the dress. And then as soon as I've got the right tones, it's then making sure that the balance is right on the weft. So I have to draw out and redraw out the weft to make sure that I've got the thickness, because as you saw in the video and when you see the dress, some of the blue bands are larger, some of the black bands skinnier, so it's getting the right compilation. And then really just a lot of patience and a lot of hands on deck to make sure that once it's all been coloured, we want to make sure none of these colours run. So if we're getting this beautiful white and then the red sat next door to it, we want to make sure we're washing it off all individually. Now to do all of this, I use Davines a new colour, which is our no ammonia hair colour range. And I've used all of our pure tones, and then to create that white, I've used 000 and a tiny dash of 10,22. So just that little bit of violet helps really kind of clean out the weft and create that white.
And then why ammonia free for this?
It works really well for the wefts. It's what gives us that high shine, that high gloss, and because a new colour is a really heavy pigmentation, it really creates that pop of colour. It makes it so much brighter, so much more intense. So as soon as Tom does that wrap around, all you see is colour.
Beautiful, well done.
Thank you.
Thank you. So finally, we've got our headband in place. So I'm just going to enhance the shape. So I'm going to use the flat iron, which has kind of got, Tom's already got this little kick it goes back here. So I'm just going to accentuate it a little bit. So I'm going to feed the hair through. I'm going to push it back, away from the face, and then I'm just going to tap and pull it forward. Just to create that little S in the hair. And I comb it out. And she has that. I don't want prom hair, I don't want wedding hair, I don't want anything to be looped in and out. That's why I want this flat wave. I'm kind of accentuating what she already had when she came here because she took the hair behind the ears. So we just got a little bit. And I'm always trying to think, like, these ideas are quite conceptual, but I still want them to live in reality. So I think, Ashley and I was talking about, would a headband sit like that? And I think it would. Like, I think if someone had this wide headband, they would probably pull out these little wispy pieces from the front. And the next model that you'll see as well is a little bit more of a sporty feel where maybe they've got a little bit kicking out of the back because it's a shorter bob and the headband and they keep a certain amount of the hair out of the way. We've got a live class here as well, so I'm going to demonstrate this technique that I've just demonstrated to you, to these guys on this side.
We've actually got a lot going on. We're filming this in a very high definition, so there'll be a beautiful edited version. We're doing it live for our friends all over the world and live for this great group from North America. I want to give a shout out to Anna Pacito. She's saying hello to everyone. Our friend Anna Pacito, an ambassador for Davines. And then we have people all over the world. Let us know where you're watching from, and if you have any questions for Tom, we'd love to be interactive. This is just, you know, the thing, having spent some time with Tom that I love, and I'll say it over, and you'll hear me say it so many times, that the creativity, the inspiration, the well that he draws from is so deep. And then the application is just so simple. You know, it's kind of, to me, it's very inspiring that you don't have to overly complicate things if you've got a deep meaning behind it, and then just do it perfectly well. You know, like building a table if all four legs are perfectly balanced, that's what it's all about.
And then you can see, when we take everything off, here, I can actually just stand up with this one, and just step to the side. So then you can see everything comes together as one complete look, which was a couple of years in the making. This is not something that kind of fell in our laps overnight. We started off with thread. It was coloured thread that was making the headband up, and then we were like, okay, that's a bit of a cheat. We're hairdressers, we're not seamstresses. So I think we set about trying to make it with her, make it look believable with her, and make it look chic. I think as well, it's quite avant-garde, but I think avant-garde doesn't always have to be expanding the hair and going as big and taking up as much space as possible. I think avant-garde being shrunken down and reduced can be quite elegant as well. And that.
So just any technical tips on gluing in the weft? We heard beautifully about the color. So gluing in that weft, I was watching from a distance, it seemed like maybe it was on a diagonal.
Yes, so important. You have to glue in the weft on a diagonal on the side, which obviously you have to measure your wig wrap from, because you're sectioning off the hair, you're isolating the hairline, you're isolating this kind of ponytail area through the top. But then you need to ensure that the space that you're leaving is wide enough for your weft, because the weft has to dictate it, because the weft has to be long enough for Ashley to be able to colour all of the relevant shades in the different widths and the different thicknesses that she has to do. So the weft can't be compromised because of the shape of the head. It's my job to work around the width of the weft rather than the other way around. And that is the Lorenzo Serafini headband, as if my idea was from a distance, but someone could think the dressmaker had created a headband as an accompaniment to the dress.
Wonderful.
You want to do a quick 360. And then, yeah, great. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Wow. And that's all. I know you have a second model that you're going to show another form of this technique, this inspiration on. That's
so
great.
I could have one. Hey. So I wanted to do like a sporty one of this as well. You know, when I've been when we first figured out that we wanted to do the Lorenzo, when I figured out I wanted to do the Lorenzo Serafini one, I was like, okay, what else can we do? It'd be quite cool if we could do it on shorter haircuts as well. You know, like because everyone, you know, of all different lengths of hair wear headbands. It's more difficult you've got less real estate on the head to work with. You've got to make enough space that still, it's a bit like hair cutting. You know, the composition still needs to be there. It can't just be a clever idea that doesn't have the composition. So I'm going to wrap this headband the same way, but then I'm going to style all of the hair that we've left out into, and you'll see when you see the final outfit, it's got this kind of sporty, tennisy type vibe. So I want this kind of almost messy, tousled hair like she's just come off the tennis court, but with a Gucci headband. So we can just come around here, please, sir.
And as that wraps around the head, I'm sure we're going to start to really see these beautiful colors, and anyone that's familiar with Gucci, I think will recognize. So Ashley Hodges, Global Ambassador for Color, can you talk a little bit about how we create Gucci color?
Yes, so again, it's using a new colour range. Within, okay. I'm like concentrating too much on that, so we have to talk about the colour. So yeah, it's using a new colour range, which is our No Ammonia permanent hair colour range. Again, working with those pure tones, and it's really, the key one here is getting that green right and getting the gold right, because you don't want the green to be too blue, and you don't want the gold to be too yellow. So it's about really balancing the kind of the yellows and blues within that green so that it's correct. So I work with green, but I also add a certain amount of yellow and a tiny dash of blue just to get that true balance of that Gucci green. And then to make the gold, I work with yellow and I add a little bit of orange just to burn it off slightly so it makes it more of that golden tone.
And the actual initial reference for this, before we figured out the Gucci dress, was, if anyone knows the Adidas trainers, Adidas Italia, they kind of have an Italian flag type aesthetic to them, but we thought that was a little bit too obvious, so we threw the gold in there as well, as the Adidas trainers have like a little gold ring through the bottom. So if anyone Googles Adidas Italia, this is basically every single colour pattern from it.
Shout out to Elena Chavez watching from Peru. I know people are watching from all over the world, and let us know where you're watching from. We're in Parma, Italy today. We've been here for the past few days. Tom and Ashley have been doing a special course for hairdressers from North America. We've been embedded with them. We've captured it all. So within the next few weeks, you'll see on hblive.me, which is our online academy platform, we'll have a beautiful film version of the 6 looks that they've created over the past 2 days, and really get into Tom and Ashley's creative process. So look forward to that. That'll be coming out. And we figured, why not just do a live here to share with everyone the magic that we've been experiencing in person here. One more quick question, Ashley, about color. How important is the starting level? Now, this was a wrap. But I can imagine, honestly, there would be quite a few people out there that would want a Gucci piece in their hair.
Yeah, oh my
so if
God,
someone really was like, I want the Gucci highlight, you know, just that one.
I try to work with the lightest weft I can get. So normally wefts and extensions go up to a base 10. So I'm working with a level 10, and it's actually got an undercoating. It's got that true undercoating tone of that pale yellow, which actually works in our favour with this gold because we want to play around with that yellow. And then it actually works in our favour with the white as well, because you can go in with that slightly stronger double violet and make sure you're definitely cleaning out that white.
Yeah, it's so nice, I think, the white, because it's so rare that you can make like a pure white.
Pure white, yeah, it took a while, but I got there.
Okay, so now we've kind of got this, the Gucci headband, the Adidas Italia original inspired headband in place. As I said, I wanted to have more of an effect of like a sporty type feel to what Lara's look was going to be. So I'm going to use a little bit of dry texturizer, but first I'm going to use some salt spray from our more inside style range.
So a salt-based spray to
Yeah,
give kind of a
sea
more
salt
gritty
spray.
texture.
Yeah, I want it to look like she's been playing tennis, and she's come off the court, and
That's
she's
kind of what we're after, right?
yeah,
Sweat and
it's
salt.
kind of, so that's why we've left all these little pieces and kicks to the side. When I wrapped this earlier, you see the first look, we took everything in, right? But this one is more, we left more isolated out, which, as I said, it means you've got to play with the balance a little more. You've got to play with the shape of the head, because it still has to make sense. It still has to look nice. It can't just be an idea. You know, an idea is nice, but if it doesn't have that beauty at the end of it, and we discussed this week, it has to. A little bit of this in here. I'm just going to start to play with this with my hands and enhance what's already there. Through here, I'm going to use a little bit of our dry texture to create just more volume in the concept. So starting to get that really raw texture through there.
Like she's playing a very chic game of tennis.
Yeah.
Well, every game of tennis is very chic, if you ask me.
Yeah. And the more I play with this, it's just going to keep getting better and better. It's going to go more and more tossable. As it dries, it's going to get bigger and bigger. I'm going to make this quite big before Laura leaves tonight. I'm going to photograph it and make this really bushy through the top.
Wonderful. Again, we've had an incredible time here over the past few days with Tom and Ashley. They've really let us inside their world and took us through several presentations where they explained their creative process and how they come up with these ideas for shows and photo shoots. And it's kind of a very unique experience. I think you guys are going to really, really love it when it's all edited and put together. It'll be like attending a course without leaving your home. You know, of course, we'd love you to come to Parma, Italy and take a hands-on course with Tom and Ashley, but if you can, look for the course. It's called Creative Potential. It'll be soon on hblive.me and you'll be able to experience the whole thing. Tom, I'll let you get back to your beautiful model.
Thank you very much. So you can see that you just face the camera there where we've got the Gucci dress with the stripe all the way through, but as I said, we didn't want it to be too obvious, we didn't want it to be too kind of like for like, so we've added that gold in there, which came from that initial inspiration point from the Adidas Italian trainer. And I think as Laura's dries now, it's just going to get more textured, more broken up, more of that kind of movement that we want. I love all these little things, because it seems to me like she's got this wavy little head in there, and then she just puts that headband all the way through it. And even now you can see it's starting to dry. You just see it on the profile, it's not because the profile, and you can kind of see that now it's starting to spread.